Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Loki Oren, taking a quick break from playing the game to talk about the future of the game. So you can see up on the screen we've got the Darkest Dungeon 2 community roadmap. So this is Red Hook's official communication about what the future of the game looks like in 2022. We don't have any hard dates except mid-February for what I'm interpreting to be Milestone 1. I'm fairly confident that this is not month 1, month 2, month 3 because that would be an insane development cycle. So I think what's happening is the game releases at the end of October. We get a patch, or we get the experimental branch patch in December. So about a month and a half ish, give or take, maybe just a month. And now mid February, 2 months. Yeah, so my thought is that their milestones might be roughly every 2 months, but we can't know for certain. But there's a nice little note from Red Hook describing how they view this process, which I agree with their approach. I think if more game companies approached this like Red Hook, we'd be in a pretty good place. They're also mentioned they're watching the Discord, they're watching the subreddit, they're watching social media. They're doing their best to incorporate our feedback, which is great. So in mid-February, we can expect a new creature den location with spiders, dogs, worms, and more. This sounds a lot like we're going to start seeing some of the critters from the Weald in Darkest Dungeon 1. So dogs giving people rabies, spiders marking and critting people to death. Oh joy. And then worms eating corpses and giving people blight problems. It sounds like this is just going to be a location rather than a new region, so just another node in the map, but that'll add a nice little bit of variety. And speaking of variety, next up is roguelike variation improvements. So there's a challenge balancing it this early on of you want to have progression but not too much progression. You want to feel like each run's unique and interesting. So I'm not sure entirely what this will end up meaning, but hopefully they're incorporating our feedback. Backstory and counter tuning. I'm neutral to this, and I think a lot of people are. Most of the backstories are pretty doable, and now that the community has gotten a hold of all of them, there are guides for all of them. So I feel like there needs to be a chance of failure for the backstories, just like there should be a chance of failure on every run. And it feels like we're starting to swing more towards you'll be able to beat it on your first try every time, which is a little disappointing for a game that's supposed to be hard, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm not that's hardly going to ruin my digestion or fun of this game. Then trinket and quirk improvements ongoing. I imagine that'll be going until they stop working on the game. There's always going to be discussion and push and pull, give and take. M2, a barnacle encrusted region. So all of you Cove enjoyers out there, that sounds like we're going to the Cove, which means a new enemy faction, which will be the Fishmen in some variety. A new lair boss to go with our new region. So all three of these are basically the same thing. And then the big news, an Act 2 final boss. So it looks like somewhere in M2 we're going to get Act 2. So just, I'm hardly the first one to think about this. But if we, just taking the guess that this is going off of the stages of grief, the first one being denial, then we can expect that anger will be Act 2, and that will be dropping sometime in their second mile marker or milestone. So probably, if I had to guess, April-ish, May-ish, somewhere in there, which means new story content and, interestingly, permanent hero upgrades. Not entirely sure where they're going with that. That's an interesting idea. It definitely scratches the itch of people who are frustrated that they go through an entire run and then it just resets to zero. Technically, we already have the roguelike progression of unlocking better trinkets, better food, better items, better quirks. So I'm not sure what permanent hero upgrades would be. If I had to spitball an idea, I'd speculate that it might be, if you completed, if the last run you did was successful, maybe that team gets a buff the next time you use them, or those individual characters. Or maybe there's a something like the whale in Slay the Spire, where if your last run was a success, you get to pick from 4 buffs or 4 choices. If it wasn't a success, you get to pick from 2. So maybe there'll be a choice in the valley or something. We'll have to see, but it's good that they're thinking about this and expanding. And then once we get out to Milestone 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, I'm not going to read through all of these, mostly because I think you are all more than capable of reading. And the truth is that once you start getting this far out, who knows? Who knows what's going to occur? But some of the highlights, talking a new playable hero, Act 3, relationship and affinity changes, new region in M4, and then finally pets. So the last component of our stagecoach is targeted for Milestone 4. Then Act 4 final boss in Milestone 5. So conceivably they're planning to have all 5 acts done by the 1.0 launch, which just given timing, and I can see they have a little road battle here, which I think is implying that they're not sure when this transition is going to happen. But it wouldn't shock me if they try to keep to this, that this will be, so if we say this is April, May, so this will be like July, August, October-ish, December-ish, so maybe early 2023. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are aiming for like an October, November 2022 drop of 1.0, but that's just my speculation. But yeah, a lot of good information on here, and all I can say is I'm going to continue to talk in the Discord, talk on the subreddit, encourage everyone else who plays this game and enjoys this game to do the same. As we actually have an insight into Red Hook. We actually have a bit of influence, and it's rare that a game developer these days does that. So the best thing we can do is take advantage of it and communicate with them and help them build the game we want to play. So that's the community roadmap. Thank you all for watching, and leave a comment. What are your own thoughts? Are there any areas you wish I'd talked about that I didn't? Anything I missed that was really big that I didn't focus on? Anyway, till next time, see ya.